have the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There was no action taken from closed session. I got a 5:30. Approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any public comments today? Limit of 5 minutes. Art, go ahead.
I have two things. One thing was that I was just going to ask that would there be a little more communication about job postings? If we could get copies of the job postings through emails, just so we know what's happening. We might know somebody who wanted to apply for something. And also, when someone is hired or reassigned or whatever, recently Michelle Finney switched from being at our school to this school. Nobody on our staff knew until after it was done. And even then, I talked to one teacher who said she ran into Michelle somewhere and didn't quite know what to say. Like, are you okay? What happened? We miss you. Like she wasn't sure the circumstances about why Michelle wasn't at our school anymore. And it's just kind of embarrassing. Parents ask and things like that. So we could just be notified. We would really appreciate that.
That would be my responsibility. Yes, duly noted.
And just so, and don't.
But as all the changes that happen within the unified stuff too, it's just nice to kind of know, because people are asking us what's going on, what changes are happening, who's doing what, and I understand you can't say a whole lot ahead of time just because of confidentiality and things, but as changes do happen, sometimes I kind of feel like we're the last to know, and it would be nice when people ask us to just not say. I don't know. Emails to me are the best.
That was a long discussion I had with the board this evening.
Yes.
Emails, you have to be extremely careful
Oh,
because they
yeah.
become public record, number one.
Right.
I really refrain on putting people's names in emails
Okay.
and
Is
what
there-
positions. So yeah, number one, you have to be careful. I think one thing I would entertain, I'll have to talk to Pina. Maybe we put out a bi-weekly update on unification issues to all staff members.
Yeah.
And I always encourage employees, we have board agendas, and please encourage your staffs, as I will, even if I like the board update every 2 weeks, the unification update. Just remind them to read the board agendas, because 80% of what we do, 90% of what we do is on the board agenda. We would love to have 30, 40, 50 staff members in the audience, because that's where I think they learn about the process to some of this posting. Some of them are done according to agreements, either they be classified or certificated. Some of them are done a little bit differently because they're administrative, so they go out on an ed join or an ed cal, and we use local media to do those types of things. So I'll start putting out something probably every week to 2 weeks on how things are going, where we're at, and certainly that. Be careful with some of it. Part of it is Valerie and I have had conversations about elementary teaching positions, and until we had letters of retirement, we can't even discuss a position because someone may in good understanding say, you know, I'm going to retire in June, which is wonderful. Congratulations, except I can't do anything until you put that in writing and they approve it.
Right.
Because it can always go the other way. And you go and hire somebody with the foresight that this is going to be an opening, and then it isn't.
Right.
And now you're stuck with a person in a contract that you don't need.
Right.
You know, so we try to move cautiously with some of that. Part of it has to do right now, we're kind of in that in-between stage with the unions. So don't know how to deal with some of them yet, because some of them are union.
I understand, yeah, I understand that, and that is helpful, because I didn't think about the emails and being illegal, that they could come back on, you know, in a legal way. But I guess just more communication, and that sounds like you guys are talking about that.
Yeah,
Which is helpful to
I'm
us.
afraid to, I say it in open session with Nina, because, you know, she's got quite a bit on her plate right now, so I go, God, we can just do one more thing, which is fine. That's what we're supposed to do.
I hear the
But
straw.
I know. So I'm just trying to figure out what would be maybe something that would be something easy, that would be a page, where it's not difficult to read.
Yeah,
This is
or-
the update on unification. This
Or,
is-
like, if things are posted on, if,
Where are we at on the webpage for the Unified District?
It currently exists, ulusd.org. You can go to it, there'll be nothing on it, because it hasn't been built yet. Having conversations with Ron about moving forward in that process. Valerie?
Well, Diane just pointed this too. You can also go back and look at the minutes. I think that, you know, anything that becomes official then turns into the minutes of the meeting. So, you know, those are all on the web. Nina was explaining that on the high school website, there's a link that says Unified Board, and then if you are the Unified District, I think it is.
Yes, and the minutes are always in the consent agenda of the board docs.
And that's where all the minutes are.
That's where you will always find your minutes from the previous meeting.
So, you know, and part of it is educating parents on where to look for information. That's the
they
most
may
simplest.
be educating me too, because I seem to be having a hard time finding things like that. And I think I've been to most of these meetings, I haven't been to all of them, but like some of these things I know you guys don't discuss necessarily personnel matters in open session, which, so that wouldn't be in the minutes necessarily until,
That was the one you were talking about, cafeteria, was that part. Now, that's the part that's different.
Yeah.
I've been to that.
Yeah, that's our, that's our.
That's been part of the fun thing about this unification, is the MOUs that have had been drafted between the high school district and the unified district, and the elementary district and the unified district, and the elementary district and the high school district, because of the crossover that we've kind of put some things in place, and we had to move slowly on, because the last thing we wanted to do was put ourselves in a position, a unified district, of having this position all of a sudden become protected for 2 years. When you may, you know, is it a position you really needed to maintain, and was there a better way of doing it without putting yourself in that legal bind?
Right.
So
Well,
we just,
that's kind of another thing that I had a concern about, is because of the new positions and new job descriptions and new duties and refining all that and figuring out what everybody's going to be doing, you know, in the new district. I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. I really don't want this to be taken the wrong way. But I'm hoping that maybe these contracts are just for a year, so we can see that was the right way to structure that job.
well, if
And
it's-
then if it needs to be tweaked later, then that can happen. And
the
nobody
easiest
has to
group,
break
the easiest group to do that with is
Is that-
management.
Oh, it's management.
The most difficult group is classified and teachers, because of the contract.
Right.
So when the state of California says all your classified positions are protected for 2 years, the salary,
Right,
you don't have any way around that.
right.
You have to be very careful.
That's a hard place for you to be in, I'm sure.
Well, you know, it's created some interesting scenarios, but we felt, for instance, with Michelle, we felt it was a good move. Since then, we've flown her old position and hired for that, which will create a, you know, basically a domino effect to another position that has to be filled.
Right.
You know, simply because we're not increasing the number of people, we're just backfilling positions that were vacated because we promoted people into their current positions. I mean, so it's been interesting. And one of the things that'll help is next, I think on Monday, they'll do the principal interviews for the elementary school. They'll make a decision. We'll move that forward and hopefully be able to name a person at the next board meeting on the 22nd, which will really give me an opportunity then to move forward and Valerie move forward within that elementary to be able to start to put things in place. You know, what positions are there, what needs to be filled. We know we have to let people ask to maybe teach at another grade level because it's contractual. So, you know, we'll make sure we do cross our T's and dot our I's. And then when all the smoke clears, okay, you might need 3 more teachers in certain grade levels. So now we can post those positions and move forward on those, hoping that nobody else leaves in June, because then it just, you're catching up, you know, so.
Well, if you can keep us in the loop however you can, as best you can, you know, in our history, not recent history so much, but in our history, there's been a good old boy thing that happens where things are just done and we find out about it later and no one knew that that was in the works at all. It was kind of a wink and a nod and a handshake kind of deal. And that's a really hard, if you're not in a club, it's a really hard pill to take. And
I'm not in that club.
Really, I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying the more communication we have, the less people feel like that. And it's a very disrespected place to be.
I agree.
Outside the club.
I came from a district that had a lot of that. And I'm a Southern California boy. I was never, when I got here, accepted into the club, which was fine. I didn't want to be a part of the club. I have my own. It's called my family. So I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I hope you hear this from me. I don't operate that way. I'm a pretty black and white person when it comes to. You can ask Sue, you can ask Dina, Valerie, and I go strictly by the book. And I'm the same way with her. And I tell her, you're going to hear a lot of things, kid. Get over it. If you want to know, you can come and ask me. If I can share it with you, I'll share it with you. If I can't, I won't. It's how we operate. I think we have a wonderful group up here that feels the same way.
Yeah.
That's moving.
I'm really excited about this.
So, we feel good about it. We're just feeling, I think Valerie and Sue and Dean in particular are feeling the stress of everything that still has to be accomplished and how to find the time to do it. And understand that all of these people have agreed to do it at no extra cost to the unified district. So some of these people are spending 12, 15, 18 hours getting it done simply because we thought it was the best thing to do. And I would say that openly, thank you to all of them for what they put in so far. We got a long way to go, and we hope we'll be working right alongside you guys, trying to understand ourselves.
Also, in the new elementary principal contract, we've got a crossing guard clause already. So we got you covered.
You did a wonderful job this morning, Doug. Excellent. I stopped. I saw you.
Favorite part of every day.
Yeah, there you go.
I wanted to piggyback on something about communication because we do realize that it's our responsibility to communication with the superintendent and the board too. And I think that's part of what you're saying too, is we just want it to be a two-way street, because in the past, our bad too, that we've not necessarily communicated with our boards readily, and that kind of thing, with another entity out here. And I really feel like that's not what it is anymore, because it feels more like a team. Because maybe it's because it's all unifying and all that, but we do need to go back to, and we have been going back to our staff and saying, you guys want to know what's up, you want to be involved, come to the meetings, I keep shooting out emails, hey, meeting this, and we do definitely know it's a two-way street, and we appreciate that you guys are open to that, and I think it's just part of us taking responsibility for communicating with you guys.
And also, we're not running anything yet.
Pardon me?
We're not running anything yet. We don't have any, what do we not have? We don't have anything. So if you want us to run something, we can't do it.
And just, encourage people, and I'm going to try to send out a letter next week to all staff. And I encourage them to have an open door, believe me, even when it's closed, it's open. And please email me, come on over. If you want to meet for a cup of coffee in the morning, that's fine too. Whatever. But I think the more you can be transparent, the less problems you have in terms of people saying something, not because they're negative or anything, they don't have the understanding of some of the things we have to deal with simply because we're uniform. So please feel free at any time to call me or come over. I'm trying to get to as much as I can. I'm on to more 5th grade stuff than I thought I would ever dream of. But thank you, Joel, for inviting me. So it's good.
Any other public comments?
I'll just want to reply on that. This week, my job, we've been talking a lot about culture and about how if you were to sit down with a group and say, what are the problems that this group faces? And in this case, one of them is communication. That you can nitpick and point out these problems, but just fixing culture takes care of a lot of those smaller problems or those smaller things, because you feel like a miscommunication is made on purpose, when in fact it just wasn't communicated properly or something like that. When you have the culture of a team, you know that you weren't told not on purpose. So it becomes less of a problem and just more of a, hey, we'll just deal with that, we'll communicate better, or I'll look at the website and things like that. It's exciting for me on the outside of the elementary school to see that as a change in the genesis for the teaching staff in the elementary school, learning how to, you guys are going to have to change, and you guys are going to have to develop and learn how to be more appreciative of a superintendent that's just black and white, or a board that wants to work together as a team and things like that. And that'll allow you as a teaching staff to really kind of breathe easier. But a lot of those problems, like communication in this case, will just really kind of go away. Not that we have to spend a lot of time on fixing communication, because in fact it's not about communication. It's just moving on or developing. So that's encouraging.
I just wanted to also say that, just to go over it again, if there's a move in the cafeterias, this board doesn't run any cafeterias. And I've had something happen to me lately. People come up to me on the street, why didn't you guys blah, blah, blah? And I said, actually, I'm not even on that board. And they said, no, you're on all the boards, aren't you? No, I'm not, So it's very confusing. It's very confusing. But that's what's happening, is this board has no employees. We have no, we're not making the moves you think we are. All we're doing is futuristic stuff. Also, I want to throw in that in the future, maybe when we do public comments, we'll do it more formally, but I don't care, actually. I don't care. But, we're not supposed to answer you and all that stuff. But I think to clear the air is worth it, It's all good. Any other public comment?
I just wanted to make a quick comment regarding the cafeteria shipping. We had a wonderful meal prepared by the cafeteria. It was great. So I think
she's rare.
but it was good skill, and I've heard still positive comments from students and
department report. Doesn't say special ed, but it's Brenda Higgins.
And we're going to have to change that one. Loretta got sick, and Lisa's not doing it, is not well. So 2 of the 4 people that were going to be doing that are sick in that week.
Okay,
So
maybe next time.
we'll put it off to the 22nd, if that's okay.
Business manager report.
I'm going to go stand over there, that's what I thought. It's been busy, really, really busy. But, you know, it's a good busy, but it's definitely been busy. We met today with Mariah Stutes, who is the CDE Nutrition Department auditor, who came out and actually audited both the Upper Lake High School District and the Upper Lake Elementary District this year, and did a program audit and compliance audit. And she's very sweet. She's sort of taken us under her wing, and, you know, now we're unified. She's trying to help us, and she feels that she strongly believes that we would be best served as a unified district if we went what's called CEP, which is Community Eligibility Program. And what the Community Eligibility Program is that instead of during the registration period, you pass out the little free and reduced forms that we all know and love so much. What they get all their data by what's called direct certification. And what the direct certification is that the state of California and the county and the federal government and all these people are supposed to be entering all their data into CalPads about any sort of federal or state assistance program that the children get, okay? And then you run a direct certification report on whatever day you run it on, and you get a list of all these kids that are, the parents don't have to say they're eligible because the state or the federal government is saying that they're eligible. And if you have a large enough percentage of those in your schools, you receive, it's a little confusing, you receive, right now we have free, reduced, and paid, okay? Basically, with the free children, you receive $3 of reimbursement from the state. With the reduced children, you receive about $2 reimbursement from the state. And with the free kids, you receive 33 cents reimbursement from the state per meal, okay? With Provision 2, which is what both districts are now, we said we wanted to go Provision 2 because we have a large free reduced population. And we declared it and we went free reduced, and they took our numbers of the total number of kids that we had in each category, free, reduced, and paid, and they calculated out what percentage were free, what percentage are reduced, what percentage are paid. And then every month we feed all the kids free and we get reimbursed based on those percentages. And it's actually not a percentage of the enrollment, it's a percentage of the participation. So if you have free, reduced, and paid, and now everybody gets free meals, and so all the free kids start eating that never have before, your free percentage would go up, so your reimbursement would go down, unfortunately, because you get only the 33 cents. With the CEP program, you don't have to get certification from the families. In fact, you can get certification from the families. It comes either from CalPads or from the Migrant Ed Department or the homeless, whoever our homeless contact is, and our EL people, they tell us who are in their programs and they're automatically there. And then also there's a federal program that does not feed into CalPads, and it's called FEPIR, Federal Food Distribution Program on Indian Reservations. And that's a piece that we can't get through CalPads that we need to try to get from the tribes. And it's Robinson is the tribe within the county that's in charge of this program. So we need to contact them and see if we can get a list from them. But anyway, with the CEP program, we end up going CEP, and you have to have at least 40% that are 40% of your population have to be direct cert to be able to even be eligible for the CEP program. And if we go CEP,
instead of giving the $3 for free, each kid that is direct cert, each kid that's directly certified by an outside agency counts as 1.6 kids in your count, okay? So if you end up having, which Lucerne has qualified, they turn CEP in November, and they have, I believe, about 66%. If you have, I think it's 66%, you multiply 66 times 1.6, you're at 99.9. So then you get full reimbursement for all meals, regardless of free, reduced, or paid, okay? So what Mariah is saying, I just got all this today, and I'm like, what Mariah is saying is that she's going to urge, and I'm going to talk to my board, and I'll probably talk to the elementary board also, is that we go CEP, each district goes CEP now. Because then when we unify, Mariah said she will go to bat for us with the state and say, both districts are already CEP, they are both, I've audited them both, they know what they're doing, here's their meal plans, here's their this, here's their that, they're great. And get the state to let us be CEP from the beginning. Otherwise, USDA does not usually allow a brand new entity to be either Division 2 or CEP. And we would have to go back to the complete collection every year, at least until we were able to, be not a new district anymore and qualify. And Mariah's fear is that with everything else happening with unification, to add the burden of having to check 900 food applications within 10 days will kill us all. And I have to admit,
Not all.
no.
All, we're good.
So anyway, so that's a pretty exciting thing. And when you do the math, and anyway, so what we did today, it was pretty interesting because the different school districts are allowed, and not only are allowed, but shall by law share data for things like eligibility in these programs. So we were able to, for the first time ever, take the Upper Lake Elementary District's direct certification list and compare it to the high school district to see if there are family members count if they live in the same residence. And so we went through and we got all our percentages up. Originally, at the beginning of the day, the middle school had like 37.6%, the elementary district had like 44%, the high school district, or 47%, the high school district had 44%. So 2 of our 3 schools qualified already for CEP. At the end of the day, when we went, and Don was kind enough, he went to every 6th grade class and said, hey, do any of you guys have brothers or sisters that go to the elementary school? And the kids would raise their hand, they'd write down those names, we'd check those names against the list, and so if they were direct cert, they lived in the same house, then our kid counted too. And we were able to raise all our percentages, at least a little. I think we found, what, 15? 11 more. We found 11 more, which for 289 is a percentage. So that was very encouraging, and we need to do the same thing with the Lucerne numbers. And I talked to Angela Austin at Lucerne to get their list to do that comparison, and then contact the tribal TANF to get that.
Sue, how long would it take to, make this materialize for now?
Well, there was a lot of work in the past couple of years to come up with the direct cert list. But today, Mariah, like I said, she's taken us under her wing, and she brought a gal that she's training, and they just sat there and did it. They did it in 2 or 3 hours, comparing the kids and stuff. So it's doable. Anyway, so that's I think really good and really exciting. If it saves us a lot of stress at the beginning of unification and pays us more, either equal to or more than what we'd be getting otherwise, I think it's well worth doing.
With the equal to, why are we going to put a lot of effort into it? I'm just asking what's the difference in money then? What will be our reimbursement difference? It sounds like CEP is better.
If you have enough kids that are direct certified,
So
it's way better.
we combine, then we're looking at the elementary, middle, and high school.
Right. Right. And all 3 schools do qualify. We want to get the percentage up as far as possible because once you establish that percentage, it stays with you for 4 years. And you don't have to do any paperwork for 4 years. Unless you decide you have a lot of kids, more kids than you did before, then you can request to recertify. But even when you're CEP and you recertify, you just do it from the direct service. So you're not bothering the parents to fill out those food applications that are fairly intrusive.
You're also not getting fined later in the school year when the information's incomplete.
And you just have to save every certification list that you have and whatnot. So I think it sounds really good to me, and for the state people to be coming out and telling us we should do it, it makes me feel like, they know these programs better than we do. So to me, that was the big thing today. We've been working with the insurance company. One thing that's really nice with this unification is that we all use the same people. You guys have Keenan, we have Keenan. We all use the same people, so it makes it a little bit easier in that respect. So we've been working with Keenan on providing them the information so that they can get our liability and workman's comp insurance up and running. They had a vote, the Keenan voted in the new district to have them join the JPA. So that's in process. I have been emailing back and forth with Lola Nickel. You guys probably have heard of Lola. She's the person from CISC that comes out on an annual basis to show us the different plans. And it sounds like we're going to be able to set up a meeting. She's coming in sometime, I'm not exact, she usually comes in May, but I think this year it's April, I'm not exactly sure the date. She comes and meets with all the districts and goes over the plans so that the districts have a chance to decide what plans they want to have before the end of the year. And she's going to give us some time probably after that meeting, and I'm hoping to bring a couple representatives from both districts to hear what she has to say, because I want her to explain to us with the health insurance how it's going to go. The way I'm envisioning it is that everybody stays on the plan they have till October 1st, which is when the new plans would start. Right now, the elementary district has, you have actually 10 plans. You have 4 plans plus the anchor bronze plan, correct? The classified have 4 plans, the certificate have 4 plans.
Yeah, the meeting is actually next Tuesday.
Oh, is it next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I guess it'll be real soon. The 15th. Anyway, she's going to stay a little after that. So I'm hoping that she will be able to go through that with us. And, okay, as a new entity, does everybody have to provide all their marriage licenses, their birth certificates, and all that again, as if they're enrolling new? Or can the stuff come forward, even though it's from a different entity? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we have a lot of people in our district, and I think you guys do too, who enrolled in these plans with CISC before they required marriage licenses and birth certificates.
You have to.
Right. Yeah. Right. I didn't either when I enrolled my family. So, so those are the questions, trying to get that set up so people know.
But when you get done, I just have a question when you mentioned workman's comp.
Okay.
And now, both schools, have workman's comp. I don't know where everybody stands. I don't know if we're paying a higher premium. I don't think it's been a long time since we've had a case. But I just was curious, is it going to start with fresh at like 0, or is there going to be pre-existing things going to?
I don't know the answer to that question.
A great question.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
wish.
That's what we're working on them about. Right now,
Well, that's why I just was wondering if can one school bring the other one to help it out or whatever?
I know that the elementary district's workman's comp percentage that they pay every month is higher than what the high school district's percentage is, and that's called your user modification, your experience modification. And usually at like a new company, they don't start you at 0 and see what happens. They start you high, and then you get to earn going down. So I don't know what the, worst, I would think worst comes to worst, they put us at the higher 2. I don't know how they're going to do that yet.
Well, I was just wondering, maybe it might be somewhere in between, or
Yeah. I don't know. And then they might go back and look at claims and see which claims are still pending or whatever. So I the work with the state, which is the accounting system, just seems to keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. But we're working on it, and now with Becky gone, I haven't had as much time to deal with it because I've been learning a lot about the elementary school payroll. So which has been good. No, it's been good. It's been good. Yeah, no, it's been fun. It's been fun. And then, that's the other thing I want to say is that now with Becky gone, basically the arrangement is that I'm doing their payroll and helping out when they need that. And in exchange, Tracy Snyder, who was the half-time accounts payable person at the elementary district, has been raised, you guys might not know, has been raised to a 6-hour employee. So she's, the hope is that she'll be able to do the high school's accounts payable and deposits also during this interim period to free me up to do all this other stuff. And it seems to be working. She's a real nice gal and real easy to work with. So thank you. I'm glad we have her with her.
Thank you.
So anyway, that's about all I have for you guys tonight. Any questions?
That's it.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Are you going back to your office? You can
I'm going to stay till the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
Superintendent's report.
I'll be real brief to update on the committees. Getting ready to meet with the technology group next. So I'll bring a report forward. We've worked, Valerie and I, and pretty much Valerie and I, on the organizational chart. Gone back and forth with the board a couple of times. So you have a discussion and action item approving that. And I did provide for you the educational leadership solution statement. And I'll be having a conversation with that group probably sometime this week on how we want to move forward and to what extent do we want to use them moving forward. I did share with you earlier in regards to the hours with school services and how we're going to approach that in terms of legal counsel. So I will have something for you by the next board meeting, if not a little earlier. I will be, tomorrow I have a high school board meeting, and then after the board meeting tomorrow night I leave for Sacramento, and I'll be in Sacramento till roughly Saturday, and then Monday I'll be in Mendocino County Office of Ed, finishing up the Perkins information for the high school district. So I will be back here till Tuesday. So I do look at my emails, unfortunately, just about every hour or so. If you have questions or whatever, feel free to send me a question on anything. But starting tomorrow night, I'll be in Sacramento till Saturday.
Consent agenda. Anybody have any?
I move that we have approved the consent agenda.
Is there any discussion on that anywhere? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Action and discussion, approval, disapproval of organizational chart. Oh, there it is.
We had a motion, second that.
Anybody second?
Aye.
So basically, what you have there was the changes we made with particular departments under certain principles in essence. One thing we changed as well is under me is not only Dina, my assistant, but is maintenance and operations, working directly with Rick, who's currently at the elementary district, is trying to get up to speed as quickly as he can with the issues that are ahead of us as a unified district. Tomorrow night, if you're so inclined to do so, come by the high school board meeting, as I'm sure I'll have some surprises for them as we move forward on the stadium lights. That's going to be a joy. I will tell you, I spent an hour with legal services today just stadium lights and moving forward on an environmental impact report that could cost the city, hold your breath, anywhere from $10,000 to $200,000 for an environmental impact report. That the lights could create more light and that we could have more noise because more people come to the games. So you got to, that's simple, but it is so complicated. Mr. Boyd can tell you we spent an hour with the attorneys today trying to wrap our heads around this environmental impact report issue as it moves forward. I hope the light is before I pass on to another world. We'll keep working at it. But those are things that we're currently dealing with. I know Rick's got a ton of stuff that he's...
Anything we can do to help that?
Unfortunately, no. You live in California. So when you put in something like this, there are certain things that you do that are exempt in California. And a prime example is we put in a solar field. Solar fields are exempt from environmental impact reports. Stadium lights are not. No matter how...
There are solar lights.
I can tell you, it's unbelievable what you end up actually having to go through. And Rick is dealing with some of this as well, because we've had numerous conversations, for example, about the staffing at the elementary district. And we know we need a new staff. We understand it. Getting there is an act of God to get through the things you need to get through. So you get saddled with things that I've been talking to Valerie at great length, to Don, to Rick, that if you start the process, is it going to be in place in time for when the school year starts? Because if it's not, you got to have some contingency plans. And what does that look like?
We'll help demolish.
Happily.
It's the building that's the problem. I know. Demolish.
It's just a lot of things that you're trying to get up to speed on because you haven't had to deal with them. And, so we're dealing.
Did you also have to bring a lot of things up to date, let's say ADA wise, just because you were going to put in lights?
Yeah. Well, we don't know yet. Because no one will answer that question because basically what happens when you move forward on a project, so putting in lights, you have to have DSA approval, which is your Department of State Architects. And in California, it's a very interesting process because an example would be, a prime example could be, and I don't even know about this yet, is putting in a new staff room. Are all aspects of the elementary school ADA compliant? In other words, handicap compliance. Because if they're not, will the putting a new staff room in make us become ADA compliant school-wide? All restrooms, all classrooms, all offices have to be brought up to meet those standards. I don't know yet. If we put in lights at the stadium, do I have to bring my stadium to ADA compliant? Because right now it isn't. And it didn't have to be, even when they refurbished the school under the last bond. For some reason, they never made the district make the stadium ADA compliant. So my fear is not only am I dealing with an environmental impact issue, I'm also might be dealing with, oh, by the way, should you put the lights in, DSA say, bring your stadium up to code, which will cost easily $250,000 to get it to that point. So there's all those things that are hanging out there. The boosters have been raising money for 8 years here, and we still might be in a position where we can't even move forward yet because of the compliance issue with the state. So we'll work through it. It's just those types of things. So I'm working with the M&O, trying to, Don's trying to teach me about it with M&O, but he'll oversee the alternative programs, and you have a couple other agenda items in front of you, and the principals have been tied into some of that. The only other couple of changes we made under chief business official, now that it's Sue. Tracy has been moved under her as the fiscal assistant and has been up to 6 hours, I believe Sue said. And food services is the director is Michelle Feeney, who, even though she's here at the high school, she oversees all 3 school sites in terms of food services, and will report directly to Sue regarding any food service issues. That's why you've seen Sue make a report tonight regarding food services. And the other people are pretty much in place. Your director of special education would be declared to be taking on not only the current role but the high school role as well, because I'm currently the special ed director for the high school district, and I would sure like to not have to go to one less meeting. And then your director of technology is Ron, who's currently at the elementary district, but will help oversee all 3 sites' needs as a director of technology. That's what I have.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval, disapproval of hiring Don Boyd as middle school principal effective July 1st, 2016. Who is this Don Boyd? Just kidding. But he's already on the thing, so.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval, disapproval of hiring Sandy Coatney as high school principal effective July 1st, 2016.
I'll move.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Board member comments. Do we have any board? I have one. I have a board member comment. There was a rumor circulating at the elementary school that I was retiring from everything as a volunteer at the elementary school. In fact, my daughter-in-law said that in a little speech. Yeah, that's not true at all. Because my son is supposed to babysit Mondays, at least, because he has Mondays off. So I'm not leaving. I just didn't think I could do that crossing guard anymore. But I'm going to go over that elementary, whatever, unless the new elementary principal just kicks me out. But anyway, that's my comment.
I'd like to say thanks again, everybody who's putting in so much time. I know that a lot of people are going above and beyond, and I know that, everybody's doing what they can, but I think we up here just kind of give reports, and you guys are doing the work of it, so we get to kind of draft off you, but thank you, because we just kind of show up here. Well, you can't more than that, but
Yeah. So thank you guys.
And I think communication is key, so I know that will work on.
Also, before you say anything, before I forget, I just want to say Brock Falkenberg, I met with him again today, just me and him again, and he gave me a lot of good information as usual. And he's still in this, so if anybody here wants to, communicate with him on stuff, it's just great to have anybody communicate. And also his, Michelle over there, she gave me some good information today, so everybody's helping out. Yes.
I really do want to stress how much work, I know you guys know that, but I think that for the amount of decisions that Pat's having to make right now is mind-boggling. And he and I can sit down and we think it's going to be a 10-minute, what do you think about this? And then, there's like so many more decisions that have to be made before we can even start the new district. And so I think I'm really sensitive about, I know there's this communication piece, and there's also a sense of urgency from the staff to say, well, what's going to happen? Because by this time, every year, Pat and I already know what our school calendars are going to be. We already have thought about our schedule for next year. And it hasn't, in addition to running our school district still, and there's this part that these decisions that have to be made. So for Pat and I even to find time to talk together is really challenging. So I just want you to know that we think about it nonstop, how to get the word out, but really it's still lots of discussions over what we're going to do. And I appreciate up tremendously. I don't think people begin to know what Dina and Sue are on their plate. So I want to personally thank them, but also please just have patience because it sure is much bigger than I think even Catherine could have imagined. Trying to get to know everything.
And I think too, encouraging parents and community members to come
To the
board
meetings,
meeting,
yeah.
and they have, time to speak or share whatever they might be concerned with or wonder about. So more involvement of the community, the better the message is out clearly and concisely.
I'd like to say, just thank everybody. It's a learning process. We don't believe it. Sometimes I have people ask me, are you glad you did it? I can still say yes. I mean, it's really, actually, it's at times it's as crazy as it sounds, Sue. It is exciting at times.
It's interesting, that's for sure.
This is really interesting in how you actually make this stuff come together and work, and without being able to run things past people. Like Valerie said, 10 minutes today turned into an hour and a half. I'm really looking forward to, your recommendation on an elementary school principal. And once those people are in place, the opportunities, I think, will present themselves. To have somebody like Sandy approved to be the principal of the high school next year. What I can say to him openly is it actually starts tomorrow. There's things that have to happen at the high school level that I feel sometimes I can't get done, like the master schedule. So Sandy will work more in concert with Rebecca Carter and those types of things. So, plus do the other things that are currently on his plate. So it's a team effort, like you said. It's a massive undertaking. We can't do it unless everybody is rolling up their sleeves and doing a little bit extra work. So looking forward to the unions, bringing the agreement for it. I know you guys meet tomorrow.
We're meeting tomorrow for our first joint union meeting, so that's exciting.
That's exciting.
We have cake ordered, from what I hear, so.
The group here, you'll come to learn that the cake is sacred.
Yeah.
Once a month, it's like the biggest event.
You've got it down.
Yeah, it's critical. Okay? So it's, I think a lot of people are really looking forward to that. So that'll really be a lot of fun, I think, for everybody.
So before I forget, I wanted to thank the newspaper over there. I want to thank you for, I did an interview with them yesterday, and somebody handed me the thing about an hour ago, and I was cringing, and really, they very nice, I think they did a great job, and other newspapers, like when I was down in LA and I was coaching and stuff, sometimes they would get everything backwards.
Well, we know that
Spin it their own
Elizabeth's
way.
always been nice to us.
But it was very nice, so I appreciate it. So I'm encouraged not to say no comment in the future. That's what I'm trying to say. I really feel like saying no comment because there's so many laws about what you can say and what you can't. But I also think the public, needs to know what's going on. So I'm a blabbermouth anyway.
I'll add, beyond the thanks for the extra effort, I feel that this board is committed to making sure that the job is completed completely in an untimely fashion, but without abusing our employees. And so I would think that we could, offer financial support if there are things that need to be done that going outside of the current staff would help. If that's clerical work or if that's whatever that might be. It's not going to be outside the realm of the board to be able to say, hey, we're going to put some money to making sure that this is happening right without abusing employees. I would never want to say that. It's great that you guys want to do the work without extra pay, but we still have lives to lead. At the end of the day, we have to go home to our families and do those things. And so, it will be the board. It's my position that I would be willing to entertain temporary type positions and things like that in instances if that helps work get done. Today you brought it up already. We looked at a contract where maybe we were overspending, and so we're going to readjust that to come down. That's the kind of mentality that she had when she said, let's look at contracts for a year. If things aren't working, we'll change it. But if things aren't getting done as fast as we need to, we can also change that. You know, and I know that it's for you as the superintendent to be to corral it all under your umbrella is great, but not if now that Sandy's on board, Sandy can handle the calendaring aspect of it or the teacher development aspect of it. When a principal comes on for the elementary school, the staffing issues that come with that, and knowing, you know, those kinds of things. Don't be afraid to delegate and spread that work, and if extra help is needed, you know, let us know. You know, we need to be able to support you for that too. Not me personally, don't talk to you about it.
You want the job?
Yes, comment.
I wanted to say too that we really appreciate the board's flexibility and open-mindedness for all that, because it is going to be an ever-evolving entity, I think, for a couple of years. And so all that communication, that flexibility, open-mindedness is really, really appreciated. And both of our superintendents have been great. They have, taking that extra time and doing things in real time and knowing that's taking over other things. Both superintendents have been great about release time for the union members to get together and make that, merging contract, because that was a lot of time and effort, and they both gave us release time to do that. So it's been able to be, it's pretty much complete, and we really appreciate that from both superintendents too. It's super important.
Okay, any more board member comments? The next regular meeting of our board is March 22nd, Tuesday, same time, same place. Closed session 4 p.m. and open session thereafter. And then after that, we're going to consider holding one board meeting per month. Maybe one in early April and maybe then one in early May. Maybe. Now, on the subject of adjournment. All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned.